Il y a plein de choses qui sont compliquées quand il fait aussi froid. Parler, c'est parmi eux. Il y a des moments où on arrive à peine à savoir ce que je dis.
On vous comprend très bien, je vous rassure.
I'm working on this case. These men disappeared 48 hours ago.
It was the last sunset before the long night. Theory is they went out to watch it. It was a weather event.
Yeah, I'm treating this like a murder case.
How scared do you have to be to run out in the ice without any shoes?
The original True Detective reminded me so much of Seven, David Fincher's movie, and there is no Seven without the Silence of the Lambs. I thought, why not go to the very origin of this all?
A killer.
I was pretty sure she was going to say no, because she's not been acting all that much for a long time, and she's famously very picky with what she decides to do. But what the hell, right? So we sent the scripts.
Le scénario, il est juste bon. Il est super comme scénario. C'est intriguant, c'est palpitant. Il y a cette mélange du film de genre, de l'horreur, un petit peu d'horreur, de science-fiction, de paranormal, mais aussi avec une sorte de profondité psychologique.
She had notes about the character. She believed that there were ways to make her more interesting, which when I heard her, I realized what she wanted me is to make her more of an asshole, which I loved.
Oui, c'est vrai. J'ai voulu absolument qu'elle soit un peu plus asshole. Mais pas parce que le personnage qu'elle avait écrit était pas une bonne, c'est juste que c'était pas moi. Hein, moi, c'était écrit pour quelqu'un qui était bien plus jeune, le personnage venait juste de perdre son enfant, qui avait 4 ans. Alors pour moi, je voulais jouer les années de douleur, cette sorte d'amertume, une manque de connaissance.
Vous voir mener l'enquête, ça me renvoie forcément quelques années en arrière. Elle aurait ressemblé à quoi, la rencontre entre Clarisse et Lise?
Ah, pas sûr. Si Clarisse et Lise se rencontraient, ça serait pas bon parce que Clarisse, elle avait un sens du moral. Elle est très sérieuse. C'est quelqu'un de très authentique. Et Lise, c'est une menteuse, un peu raciste, qui est totalement corrompue moralement. Je suis sûre qu'ils s'entendraient pas du tout.
I don't know what the hell they're doing together. Thought they hated each other.
You think I want to work with you?
I do, actually.
Yeah.
Liz Danvers and Evangeline Navarro are mirrors of one another.
They are absolutely two sides of the same coin. They're yin and yang. They're left brain and right brain. They're an incomplete soul. And they find what they're missing in each other.
Navarro can see exactly who Liz Danvers is, and I think that's one of the things that drives Liz a little crazy. They can poke each other in places and bring things out of each other that nobody else can. It's a love-hate relationship.
Some people come to Alaska to escape, get away from something. Sometimes they come here looking for something. Sometimes they find it.
All the elements that made the series is what Alaska gave me. You think about what happens there, and you have the Arctic Research Station, you have the murder and missing indigenous women, you have the eternal night. You have the Inuit people, their humor and their traditions and their uniqueness. At the very beginning of my writing, I thought she was going to be a Latina, because I'm a Latina. But the more I understood about the towns in Alaska that I inspired Ennis on, the more I understood that the Inuit native identity is central to what these towns are. And I knew that she had to be native. True Detective is a show that is so centered in the fact that you have two big stars. And I knew I was going to go for Jodie Foster. Who could I have that came from the indigenous actor community and could give me a performance of that size? Kaylee had just opened a movie called Catch the Fair One, and she had the power and the emotion that I needed for Navarro. It was just meant to be.
After I read it and I did my audition, I really, really wanted it. It seemed very, very far-fetched, being this, I only have, one movie and a part in another movie previously, and this was not something that was on my radar to be a profession. I wrote it down in my notebook, and I really wanted it, and I just kind of let it go, and I was like, I knew some way I was gonna get it, but I'm like, this seems ridiculous. It seems like impossible.
What do you want?
It's been 6 years. Why are you here?
Because you both know what really happened. And you need my help. I've seen that before. Years ago.
Any moment I have, whether it was in my boxing career or now getting into acting, to highlight the issues such as missing, murdered Indigenous women and people, I'm always going to jump on the chance to be a voice for the voiceless because it doesn't get enough attention. The terrible phenomenon of murder and missing Indigenous women is prevalent in the US and in Canada. It's also very related to gender violence in Mexico. We have a horrendous phenomenon called feminicidio. Of the 4 movies I directed, 2 of them deal with the subject matter. So the moment that I have an opportunity to work in the US, I wanted to deal with the same things that I carry in my work.
That night out on the ice, you saw something.
I saw nothing.
You're a liar.
The weather conditions, the rural isolation area of what they actually have to deal with as a people there, is just, it made this fascinating to me. So to be able to take everything from Alaska, even including the people, and bring it all the way to Iceland and Greenland. The most impressive thing was the fact to see people from those areas go, wow, this looks just like home. That was really, really impressive.
La chose la plus surprenante, c'était comment j'étais heureuse. On a passé 7 mois là-bas et je voulais pas partir. J'adore l'Islande, j'adorais mon petit appartement à Reykjavik, il y avait des endroits pour aller écouter de la musique, la nourriture est bonne, j'ai des amis là-bas qui chantent tout le temps, il y a ces piscines toutes chaudes. Oui, en fait, j'étais très heureuse là-bas.
If you ever go to Iceland, like, you have to wear layers. Layers, layers, layers. You can't wear jeans. Like, it's like impossible.
Let me think. At the worst, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 6.
But I could tell Issa had 6 layers on because she had this one onesie that she wore all the time, and she'd like just swish around, and yeah, it's hard to move. It's hard to move it fast. Because there was a couple of times, like when they were setting up the camera or readjusting cameras, it was a little longer time. Then I'd go to say my line, and like I couldn't really get my words out. But it also it's real because if it was, we did it on like a set or something where it was warm, we had to act like it was cold. It's real. Like you get to feel what these people have to go through being in these weather conditions. But it was pretty funny. I think there was one specific night, it was like 10, 15 below, and I think everybody had a hard time just talking. Like it was really, really difficult. But to look up and see, you know, northern lights, that was absolutely beautiful.
Très difficile de parler quand on a si froid. Il y a des moments où on arrive à peine à savoir ce que je dis.
On vous comprend très bien.
Merci.
Throughout the investigation, Lips keeps saying you don't ask the right questions. What is the question you want the audience to ask themselves while watching the show?
Ah, that's a good one.
Am I completely convinced that it's rational, or am I completely convinced that it's supernatural?
What are you hiding under the ice?
And what's your answer to this?
There's no answer. That's the point of the question.
It's crazy the shit we survived.